Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Alex Show TV. This episode is from October the 31st of the year 2025. Today is a Friday, and I know today is Halloween, but we're not going to talk about that. We're actually going to go in a different direction here. Violence is never the answer. Yes, this is such an important topic for me. I've spoken about this a few times on the show with guests. I remember at least two or three similar chats with my very good friend Tony from London. Uh, which I had more than 60 chats with. And we spoke about violence and how it's never the answer, and how violence is actually a response, how violence is actually a reaction, how violence is actually never justified. And we used to justify it through the ego, I believe, of saying, yes, it's self defense, stuff like that. Violence is never the answer. We have a very short support video, originally in Spanish, translated up by the technology of Hagen, as always, excellent. And by the way, you probably have seen already on the show that we had a few chats migrated from the Spanish channel. And yes, some chats in English are going to migrate eventually to Show the Alex, my Spanish channel. Through the technology of Hagen, I decided to go to pay for the subscription. And with that, I can translate longer videos, and I can translate around 2 chats per month. Okay, so eventually I'm going to migrate a few chats. That's why we have been getting some chats. And I want to clarify, as I said a few times, I also mentioned that Tony decided not to participate in the show anymore, and that's totally fine, totally respectable, of course. But also, I found that I just don't have the time and effort to try to bring new guests on the show at this time. If someone reaches out, if someone sends me an email, I do receive 2, 3 emails per week on each channel. But no one so far of the public has mentioned the will or the idea of the wish or the wish to be on the show. Everyone is invited. I made that very clear. You have something to say, I want to hear it, as long as not a purely negative topic, we're going to do it. You know which topics I like, of course, if you watch the channel, so that's pretty obvious. But I wanna clarify that. I wanna make an opportunity to clarify that. But I feel great that both channels are gonna benefit of migrating with almost perfect dubbing, almost perfect. Even the pitch of the voice and that, you probably have seen it on the chats we had recently, 3, 4 chats we had recently. They are all originally in Spanish, and as you can see on the video, it almost seems like we're speaking English, both the guest and me. So I hope you're enjoying that. I didn't want to make a specific announcement on that because then it's too many channel announcements. I felt that was gonna feel obvious, but I want to clarify that's what happened. That's why we have recently had 2 shows per week, Mondays chats dubbed from the Spanish channel, and Fridays shows like this one. So let's watch the support video together. It's a very short one. I like what the person here, the creator, says. Is this type of selfie type self-recording, very short but very to the point. It's a little bit old because it's related to this incident at the Oscars that Will Smith punched this guy because he was talking about his wife and that. I think it's a good example why violence is never the answer, why violence is never justified, why violence, no matter how good it feels, no matter how it feels like the appropriate response, violence, as the topic we're having today, as the title, violence is never the answer. Let's watch it together.
Starting from the point that Chris Rock's joke was in poor taste and that I have no idea what I would do in Will Smith's place, what really strikes me is how, in the comments on all the videos discussing this, violence is normalized when it comes to defending a loved one. It's not just men saying they would do the same, but also women saying they wish someone would defend them in this way. And this brings 2 things to mind. The first is Shizuka Shimoff through her books saying, violence is the last refuge of the incompetent. In other words, if your first reaction to something is violence, you are far below incompetence, and if after exhausting all your options you resort to violence, you are an incompetent person. Secondly, it reminds me of the story of Buddha, who, when someone spat at him, his disciples stood up to defend him and he stopped them saying, the offense was directed at me and not even I accepted it. Why are you accepting it? Hatred is a poison you take thinking it will harm someone else. Things like the war in Ukraine and people justifying violence in order to protect a loved one, to me, are connected. And I also know that for the first time in human history, we have the possibility to break this cycle of violence, this cycle of hatred, and to do something different as humanity. If enough of us become aware of this and start to think and feel this way, others will naturally follow.
Yes, I totally agree. I don't know this gentleman. I found it Honestly, this is a little bit different. I've said a few times that the last few months, I've allowed the algorithm kind of push which videos I was going to make. So I found the support video first, and then I built the idea, the title, and that from the support video. This one was different. I wanted to, again, something came to me. This very important topic, the violence is never the answer. So I had to actually, in a way, breaking the recent trend, I had to go into YouTube and type violence is never the answer or something similar to that. And this gentleman came up. And I think, yes, he's talking about Ukraine and the Oscars and Will Smith. I know, a little bit distractions there, but he's right on the point that we're in a unique opportunity to break the cycle of violence in planet Earth. Honestly, please don't get upset. Please don't get offended. This is not a lack of respect when I say violence is never the answer. It's something I feel inside me. It's a feeling. Comes from my heart, comes from my connection to my intuition. Violence is never the answer. If we make it the answer, comes through justifications. Self-defense, right thing to do, he offended my wife, they invaded my country, and we go on and on and on. And this has been the cycle of violence on planet Earth for thousands, probably millions of years. Because remember, I share the idea that probably the history of Earth is much more than mainstream history, okay? And violence has been constant in planet Earth, and that justification, particularly with self-defense. And I share many times, self-defense is universal in the sense that it's not the right thing, but in the sense it's a feeling of non-evoluted civilizations and confused beings of saying it was done to me, so it's the right thing for me to do it to someone else. The eye for eye and stuff like that. Even the perpetrators, okay? Someone might ask, what should I do if I'm a victim of violence? Well, first of all, try to protect yourself, which is different than self-defense. And second, yes, fleeing, yes, avoiding violence. For example, going in difficult parts of your town at night just to say, hey, and stuff like that. And I want to share a little story here in Mexico when it got very rough with violence. I'm talking 2008 to 2012 you probably see it on the news that there was a lot of kidnappings, a lot of extortions and that. You want to think I was a defeatist. You want to think I'm weak. Do whatever, think whatever you like. But I decided I had to change my office 2-3 times in that time period. Because, for example, the place I was when this violence suddenly erupted in my city and in all Mexico, and you started hearing stories of people being kidnapped out of their offices and people being extorted and that, the zone my office was suddenly had a situation, and one of the fellow was a dentist that they had to try to take away as a kidnapping and that, and I decided to migrate the office at an expense to me and the company to a different part of town. And eventually we were fine. And then that part I migrated, something happened, I had to migrate to another part of town. And I saw a very unfortunate situation of someone I know that his thing was, I'm not going to move my company, my office. I'm not going to move it. They're not, because it's not my fault, the violence is this and that. And unfortunately, this person, a couple of years after he said that, eventually they came to his office. They took him away in a kidnapping, and he was never to be seen again. And for me, what it tells me is, you're not weak if you try to protect yourself and your loved ones, okay? But trying to fight violence with violence, nothing good will ever come out of it. And in the history of humanity, we have too many proofs that that is not the answer. Violence is never the answer. I hope you enjoyed this very short episode on Halloween. Yes, I know, totally unrelated to today's topic. Well, first of all, I don't know which part of the world you're listening to. That's mostly a US, Canada, Mexico thing, Halloween. Hope you're well on this Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breadcrumbs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice, true violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions are only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It's very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you'd like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very